So this last one, man, the Violent Bob Ross gets a big win against Alexander Munoz, man. And AJ, man, just give me some thoughts before I even give my take. Give me some thoughts on this fight.
Say this one was hard, man, because like looking back on it, I can see in points how it's a split decision win, but I had it going the other way. Like I had it, I had this as a robbery alert, my man. This one was a rough one, and even for me as a Pena fan, I wanted to see him win. I'm happy he won, but it was not the performance I wanted to see.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I'll tell you what, Luis Pena. There's part that they were even talking about on the commentary, and they were saying this is could play and why the judges scored it the way they did. Because if you talk about like striking effectiveness, and I'll even pull up the stats right now. I got them right here in front of me. Striking effectiveness. Pena wins, right? 90 to 82. All right, cool. Significant strikes, 90 to 80. You win on both categories. You want to talk about takedowns? I guess they didn't count. They didn't even factor those into the judging this time around, right? Because Munoz had 4 takedowns, and last time I checked, that's supposed to count for something. You know what I mean? This is mixed martial arts after all. But Luis Pena had another thing that was, I guess it's discounted. It's an intangible that we don't talk about much when we talk about officiating, right? But he had bravado. You know what I mean? He was in there just like saying, I'm going to do whatever I want to you. I'm going to throw no-look punches. You know what I mean? He was sitting there like, yeah, what's up, bro? You know what I mean? Like he was there. He was crisp. He was fresh all 3 rounds. And what I saw was very surprising, man. You see, folks, if you're watching, you can see a slimmer of it. But I'm going to pull something up real fast, AJ. Here, hold on. Let me pull it up, folks. If you think I'm playing over here, I'm not. Bow. I take this wrestling stuff serious. You see this guy? That's Dan Gable. This is called Competitor Supreme. This is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So I'm watching this before the fights. I'm seeing Dan Gable coach, Iowa College over here, just getting championship after championship, talking about, hey man, listen, he told me that, or he didn't tell me that, he didn't tell me anything, but he had said this, which was very, motivating to me. He said, hey, a Dan Gable coach team does not lose. You know what I mean? You only lose because you didn't want to win. You feel me? One of his athletes got a tie, and he says, you know why you tied? Because you didn't want to win. And he was all like, yeah, what do you mean? He was like, no, you didn't want to win. You wanted to tie. That's why you tied. So all about hard work, all about you can't outwork me, effort, all that. Alexander Munoz, man, he's a legit wrestler. This dude is a legit wrestler. That is literally the backbone of his entire offensive repertoire. And what did I see in round 3? I'm not even being harsh. I'm just being, this is an observation of what I saw in this fight. I saw Alexander Munoz get tired, man. I saw a tired wrestler against a striker, against Luis Pena, he's big, he's long, he's making you move around, you know what I mean? He's throwing knees in your face. But you can't, as a wrestler, man, you can't get tired like that. Like, that is your whole entire game plan. Round 3, you outwork them. You grab the takedown, and that's what I started to see is towards round 2, round 3, Luis Pena kept those knees up high in Munoz's face, and Munoz either didn't want to eat one or he was too tired to keep shooting for the takedown. Because I think a couple takedowns in round 3 would have won him the fight. But at the end of the day, you texted it to me, actually. You said, hey, man, I guess you can't leave it in the judge's hands today. You know what I mean? And that's what we saw, right? So Luis Pena, he wins a very controversial split decision, 29-28 times 2, and then 28-29, so a 29-28 for Alexander Munoz. But at the end of the day, man, Luis Pena needed this win really bad. To be honest, this is his first win since February 29th of 2020. So it's been quite some time since he's gotten a big win. Had a fight canceled against Drakkar Klose. We already talked about it. What did you think, though, of Luis Pena's performance? Because I liked it once he started to turn it on. But this reminds me of, and we'll talk about it in a second, Phil Davis. He loses to Vadim Nemkov in Bellator 257, the light heavyweight Grand Prix. And Phil Davis is notorious for being a slow starter. And that's just what we saw against Luis Pena. And that's oftentimes their detriment. Luckily, it worked out this time. Give me some thoughts, AJ.
I think that was it. Once he turned it on and once he started having that bravado you were talking about, man, he was looking good. He was starting to show out, starting to talk some shit. He was looking like how I wanted to see him perform from the start, from the jump. But man, yeah, that was sometimes a slow start will hurt you. Sometimes a slow start will be the key to victory. So it's hard to say, which path to take, because you don't want to have that adrenaline dump and then get beat up for the rest of the fight. So yeah, I mean, it looked good when it looked good. It was not the best whenever he was just kind of almost looked like he wasn't having his gears in line. He just wasn't having the right mechanics down. He wasn't back in the groove until that 3rd round when he started to really pull away from Munoz. So, and yeah, I liked it. Like I said, I'm a Pena fan, my man. So I'm happy he got the dub at the end of the day. I just want to see round 3 as a round 1, start from the jump and really hurt some people, man, because he can. He really is very violent. He can hurt some people. He's very, like I said, very sharp on all his ligaments and the tower, or elbows and knees and all that jazz. But yeah, so
you know what, AJ, man, and I say this with the utmost respect. Luis Pena is a man I would not want to fight. He looks like a legitimate, like, psychotic individual. Like, he enjoys fighting too much. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like he enjoys it too much.
I'm glad you said that, Derek, because to me, I almost texted this. I wanted to save this for the show, man. And he doesn't really look like a violent Bob Ross. He looked more like a sideshow Bob from The Simpsons.
Oh yeah,
like
oh shit,
psychotic,
yeah,
dangerous, man. He's out there to scrap, bro.
Listen, man, he be talking to people on Twitter too, being like, bro, y'all can get it. Like, what's up? I'm not. You think I'm one of those dudes? I'm not here to fuck around. So he even said it in the ring. This is a top moment for me. One of those UFC Apex moments where you can hear the fighters talking. He says, "I'm gonna change my name to Violent Kevin Holland." You know what I mean? And listen, you got to get and you text me though. You're like, you got to get that win first, homie, before you lose like Holland too. So hey, Luis Pena, Violent Bob Ross, always a fan favorite here on this program. But let's string those wins together and let's make them a little more convincing so we don't have to get a heart attack when the judges come in, man.